Lee Winnell's coming out with a Wolfman movie in January, so I thought it'd be a good time to talk about some things I've always wanted to see in werewolf movies and we never get to see. I want to see a werewolf transformation that seems like a good time. You know, like it's always so painful looking. Like all these guys are screaming and crying. It's like, ah, I want it to be like, if we're really talking about, like if we're really going with the metaphor of it representing like the savagery of man, show how that savage violence is enticing. Make it feel good to do the violence. Make them feel guilty for how good it feels to be violent. Because that would be more in line with the whole theme, right? Like it's not the problem with being a monster in real life is the transition isn't painful. If it was horribly painful, people would be less likely to do it, I reckon. But it's actually pretty easy to be an asshole. You know, it's pretty easy to be a big piece of shit. It's pretty easy to seek violent solutions as opposed to like diplomatic solutions, right? It feels better to do violence sometimes. And that's kind of what the werewolf movies are talking about. So make it genuinely feel good. Oh my God, it's the full moon. Their friend's like, what's that? And it's like, I think you gotta run, man. Oh, you're gonna need to run, I think. You know, inadvertently, besides its thematic relevance, you're really gonna appeal to this community. Whoever's making all these pictures of werewolf transformations that you get when you just Google search werewolf transformation now, like this is the primary demographic. And all the suggested things are like commission drawing. Like it's not like that they're not suggesting American Wolf in London or up there, right? Like this the people typing world transformation into Google are furries. Throw them a bone in your werewolf movie. I don't know. I could be wrong. Maybe one of the things they like about it is it's painful as shit. I have no idea. But clearly there's an audience. Let's come in on a werewolf that's been a werewolf for a few years and has like a system in place and thinks they have all their stuff figured out, but is still struggling. And then we can move the werewolf metaphor a little bit away from like the violence inherent in all men or whatever, and more towards like it's just gotta suck to be disabled in America. You're trying to make it, but how do you hold a job as a werewolf? How do you pay your bills as a werewolf? You can't work nights. How do you get around? How do you live your life when you have these restrictions? How do you navigate the world when you have overwhelming sensory input issues because you know your senses are all cranked up to an 11 now that you're a werewolf or whatever. You know, like it doesn't have to just be a stand-in for violence. The metaphor can be a stand-in for anything. And I think it being a stand-in for a part of you that makes you different and makes the world hard to navigate, that's beyond your control, works really well. And we don't see that a lot. Or similarly, the Wolfman could be a stand-in for being like a subjugated minority. You know, you got to keep this part about your life a secret. When people find out about it, they're going to hunt you down. The original Wolfman was written by somebody that had escaped Nazi Germany, so he put in some of those themes, and we could just go in that direction instead of going towards the violence direction. I saw a dude recently talking about how he's sick of werewolf movies because the only themes they have to explore are the inherent violence in all of us. I just feel like, yeah, maybe that's what we've been exploring with most of them, but there's other options there.